welcome to Happenings. I'm Helen Moriaty. On this show, artist and teacher Michael S. Vieira critiques artwork at a meeting of the Chelmsford Art Society. Born in Lowell, Massachusetts, the artist started oil painting at the age of 10 and spent many years studying under New England painters. Michael is a graduate of the Museum School of Fine Arts, Boston. Painting from nature, Vieira considers himself an American impressionist. His works emphasize light and shadow and vibrant colors with accurate drawing. Presently, he is teaching classes on figure drawing at the Whistler House Museum of Art in Lowell, Massachusetts. Come with me to listen to Michael S. Vieira critique the work of the artist and to see what is happening.
And that is the most important thing, is producing work. Even if it's bad work, get all the bad work out of you first, and then start producing good work. It's really important. And it's awesome because you guys are doing it. And the other thing that's kind of odd about artists as a creature is, like, we're very sensitive, and a lot of times we're very introverted. And we work on these pieces, and it's almost like an exposed nerve. We're sort of kind of putting ourselves out there. For what? You know, for potential rejection. You know, it's like you put your work in a show, and then it gets rejected. Try to get in a gallery, they don't want it. You know, so you get this kind of, like, you know, it's like you're either in or out. You're kind of, it's just a weird kind of vocation to be an artist. Also, another thing about artists too is we exist in our eyes. You know, mostly, you know, our world is a visual world. You know, everything we see is a visual encounter. And so we look at something and we love it, we hate it. You know, we'll see something so beautiful that nobody else notices, and we want to share it with everybody. So, you know, a lot of times we'll try to reproduce it in some way and bring it into existence, pull it out of ether into existence. And yeah, it's another awesome thing about artists is we make things. You know, not a lot of professions make things. You know, we take things from nothing and we make it into something so everybody sees it. And it's so awesome, you guys. All this work here. I also, just a little shameless plug, I have a YouTube channel, and I'm all over the map with YouTube. On this, my YouTube channel, I cover composition, color theory. Some of you guys already know my YouTube channel, but if you guys don't, it's pretty simple. Just go into YouTube and search my name, and definitely put my middle initial in there. So it's Michael S. Vieira, V-I-E-I-R-A, and I should be on the first page of YouTube. I have, like, right now I have 16 videos up. So, and I'm trying to put one up every week, which is our only abstract piece here. Right? The thing I felt that I sort of wanted more with this is your value range is a little bit narrow. Like, it really feels like you can get, like, not black, but like a pure, like a nice dark. Because once you push that dark down, like even just little bits of it, chopping off corners is, a lot of times it's a good idea. Chop off a corner.
Mike, I spent the afternoon softening the dark.
That's awesome. So this is oil, right? This is oil?
I'll bring them back.
Yeah. So this is oil, though, right?
No, that's acrylic.
It's acrylic, okay.
Oh, yeah.
So you can easily put those back in.
Oh,
but
yeah,
it just feels like
as red and black, red and brown.
Because it feels like everything is kind of getting lost. I think as soon as you put a nice dark in there, these will start to sing again. Your center of interest. So your center of interest should have, it should be in the best location you're painting. And it should have the best lighting, it should have the best color, and it should have the most interesting shape. So actually, let me bring this back up again. So there's no real clear center of interest right now. So as from what I'm seeing, what has the best color is the green. What has the best light is the whites. You know, there's nothing that has a good location, because there's nothing with a real location, nothing I could definitively say, this is the center of interest, this is where my eye constantly draws to. Like, this might be a nice little spot right here. And what you did do, which was a good job, is you have your full range of colors. Because quite a bit, like, people will forget red. I've noticed that they'll like a blue and they'll do like yellows, but tend to leave out red a lot. And you have your reds. Your reds are browns, and you actually have a little bit of red peeking through. And you have your yellow and you have your blue, which is your green. That's your yellow and blue. And then this light brown is sort of serving as a yellow also. But it almost feels like you need a third element, you know what I mean? Something that says, hey, I'm the leader of the pack. I am the, you know, I'm the one that everybody, I'm the superstar, I'm the front man, that kind of thing. And an easy answer is red, but red might be too much. It might be too of a vulgar kind of break from what you have here.
They killed all the red.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, you know, so it's kind of like, it's with abstract work too, it's very reactionary. You know, you put it up, you look at it, and you kind of feel it, and if you don't like it, you wipe it out.
Yeah.
Or if you like it, you start bringing out more pieces of it. So, I mean, like, this is, you have just a little bit of blue right there. So it might be nice to see some more little blues just kind of poking out.
I killed the blue too.
You killed the blues too?
It was blue and white over red.
Yeah. So
It
get rid of all the
started to
blues.
look like a landscape, and I
Yeah.
said, screw this.
There you go. That's perfect. That's good. That's good. I've seen a lot of abstract artists who'll paint, and they'll start seeing an image out of it, and then they start pulling the image out, and that's, if you're an abstract artist and you see an image in your abstract work, you kill that image. You get rid of it. This actually has a little bit of the same problem. There's no real clear center of interest. So personally, from looking at this, I would want this to be the center of interest. Because that has such a nice, that orange and green looks so nice together. Orange and greens are all really beautiful together. You almost can't go wrong with those two. But see, right now, there's nothing that has the best light, because everything is kind of in the same kind of value range. See, right here has the best, that has the best light so far, because you have a dark against the light. But really, I want this to be the center. Because that orange is so, you know, the orange can be potentially so beautiful.
Michael, quick question.
Sure.
When you talk about center of interest, do you ever think, I know you read some composition books and they talk about making a tic-tac-toe pattern on it, and then you get these 4 power points, what they call.
Yeah, yeah. See, like I usually try to avoid formulas. I'll read them, and if I read it enough times in different books, then I start to actually pay attention to it. But it really is a gut reaction. It really is. You know, you can understand things intellectually, but once you're in front of the canvas, it really has to be. You know, it's a conversation you're having with your own piece. It's a watercolor pencil.
So how would you, that's what I felt too, I really love that squash.
Yes.
And the seeds and everything. Well, how would you change that painting to make it more interesting?
I think what I would do is probably bring some more darks down here, because these are glass bottles, so they're clear.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe you can introduce a little bit of a blue or green blue. What else? Let's see. You know, you can make this red sing a little bit better, so that way you keep your eye right there. Because you have a lot of nice things happening. You know, that's a nice contrast. That's a nice complementary colors, and the orange is nice and complementary. You know, so I think I would bring more blue, more greens back there to make these oranges kind of stick out. Actually, I have these little tools, especially as an artist. We're our own little bubble. We're inside our own little studios. So this is just a red piece of plastic. You can find like a piece of stained glass, acetate, anything that's red. And what you do is you just put it in front of your eyes. You can see I've been using this for a while because it's all gross. You cover it in front of your eyes and automatically eliminates all the colors except for red. So now all you're seeing is value, you know. So if I was to cut my eyes and look at this piece, all I see when I cut my eyes, all I see is this bottle. Everything else is gone.
Oh.
You know, I don't know. You guys, I don't know.
Because the values are so.
Yeah. So this is a little trick we got here. So this came from like some board game where like you slide it in, you can read it. You know what I mean? I like went to a thrift store.
It just disappears?
It does visually. Like I don't see the glass. I mean I see it.
Yeah. So when you put that on, you won't see anything?
No, I mean I still see things, but I'm looking in to see it. You know what I mean? Like it should be kind of just passing through.
Did you ever try something like blue color or something, or whatever, just to see if there's a difference? I don't know.
No, I mean I've just seen people use red, so I'm just like, oh, red. I'm sure blue works too.
Okay.
I don't know what it is with red, but and it's the right kind of red too. You know what I mean? Because there's some acetate that you can actually still see colors through. Now, was this from life, or was this, wait, who did this again? I'm sorry. Was this from life? Did you have this set up, or were you doing this out of
We,
head?
yeah, it was set up at our class, and everybody had a different view from it. So.
Okay, so people were kind of
Some
around
people
it.
had the glass behind the bottle,
Yeah.
and some people had the, you know, the labels you couldn't see, so.
And so I'm assuming, too, you have multiple light sources, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Yeah, it's nice when you go into still life and you can control your light, and you have one nice light source.
Oh, okay.
Now, is it, you can't see the glass because the values are the same?
They're so close, exactly, and it's probably the case anyway, too.
Yeah.
But I know with glass, I know, because, you know, there's, I don't know if you saw on the cover, I think one of my wine paintings was on there,
Yeah.
but you can sneak a little bit of dark right down there. You know, it almost looks like you might be able to reflect some of that dark, might be reflected off of there, or might pick up off of it. Another thing too, because we're using man-made objects, the symmetry of them gets a little wonky, you know, so you can see how...
I think they hate during the line.
Exactly. You can see how the ball kind of curls a little bit.
Yeah, it's kind
Yeah,
of-
I usually pull my hair out.
It was
when I-
cheap
yeah.
wine.
So I usually pull my hair out in the studio when I'm doing this stuff. But a good way of doing it is you can get tracing paper. You can buy some tracing paper and just trace one edge, and then flip the paper over, and then check it against your other edge, so that way you can match them both. So tracing paper, you can also take a sheet of glass, piece of plexiglass. You can take like a grease pen, and you can also do the same with a grease marker, and then flip it over. The thing is you're not transferring it on, you're just using it to check, you know what I mean? So then you correct it, and then you put it back on again and look at it. You're like, oh, I have to go in more, you know? So this is a little trick, you know? Also, too, I think this is oil, correct? There's something I noticed a lot of my students do it, and I've done it a lot in the beginning, and I'm still kind of guilty of doing it every once in a while. When you're painting the same spot over and over, that's called licking. At least that's what I refer to it as. It's like when a dog hurts itself, it's always licking that same spot over and over. And when you do that, what happens is after your third brush stroke, you start removing your paint. You know, so it's almost like you hit the value, you step back, you look at it. If the value is correct, then just tie it on. Just tie it on, and then try not to mess with it anymore. You know, because people will go back in and start blending it. So try to do that. I remember what I was going to say now. I was going to say, try to avoid painting objects. Try to paint the effect that happens in the object. Like here, so she's not painting objects at all. So she's going purely on the effects of what she sees. That's all. There it is. So she's going for effects, you know, and like with realists, what happens is we're painting a wine glass and we're painting a wine bottle. So you're thinking object the whole time.
Right.
So if you're painting an effect, you would see like, oh, that highlight is so bright compared to the background. You know, even though it's the same here, but like in life, I'm assuming that that glass is reflecting that light really brightly. So that has to sing with that light. So you need to push down the background because you want the effect to happen. You don't want to paint the wine glass, you want to paint the effect of the wine glass. So think more like an abstract painter. Do you know what I mean? Like, so there's a saying I'll say, you have to be out of your mind to be an artist. And it's because you need to exist in your eyes. Because artists, it's a visual world for us. You know, we think things like, I mentioned on YouTube, you look at a table and you know, your brain knows that all four legs are the same length, because if they weren't, the table would be wobbling. But your eyes are saying that that leg that's closest to you is the longest leg, and the leg that's furthest from you, that's the shortest leg. Your eyes are saying that, but your brain is saying something totally different. So just remember that, as an artist, you know, we exist in our eyes. So another little thing in the studio we have, I use a mirror. Mirrors are fun, especially for still life. When you're setting up still life, because you can't flip things over upside down. So when you use a mirror, you can go like this. And look, I can see all of you guys upside down. So if I have a model and my painting, I have it side by side, you know, a model or still life, just side by side. I'll take the mirror, I'll put it up against my nose, And I'll kind of move it up and down. I can see both at the same time in the mirror. And then my eyes just dart back and forth and I compare things. Because what's happening here is you're giving yourself a fresh eye. Because like I was saying earlier, artists exist in their own little bubble inside their studio. So, you know, it's like, a lot of times you need to like grab somebody from the hallway and here, take my painting, I need a fresh eye. Because you become blind to your own work. You know, you could even get a child, just get a little kid to come in and be like, you know, there's something wrong with it, what do you see, you know? And they'll be able to pick it out, you know, especially if you're like realism, like the child probably have a hard time, you know, figuring something out with this.
Can I ask a question? Will that, the mirror thing, will that, say you're working from a photo?
Mm-hmm. Photos are easy. You just flip the photo over and you flip the painting over. You don't even need a mirror. The mirror is mostly for life.
Oh, okay.
Because you don't have the luxury of flipping things over. That's what I use the mirror for too. So there's this, and then you can also do this too, where now I'm seeing everything reversed, and it's another fresh eye. It's because I'm not used to seeing it upside down. I'm not used to seeing it backwards. So when I do, my eye right away is like, oh my God, wow, that angle is totally wrong. Or that color is way too dark. You know, but I didn't see it because I became blind to it because I've been working on it the whole time. But then once I changed my view somehow, I got a fresh eye. And it's the same deal with this too, because now you're not seeing value. When you're not seeing color, now you're seeing value. The last little tricky thing I have here is, this is called a reducing lens, so it's opposite of a magnifying lens. A lot of quilters use this. They hold it up to their eyes, and it makes everything smaller. Because a lot of times we're confined to a very small space with a painting, and so you can't get back far enough. So you get this little tool, you just hold it up, and you can see like everything's all shrunk down. So it kind of feels like you step like, you know what I mean? Yeah. So, and that's just another thing. Just so now you're seeing everything really tiny. You know, like I'm sure some of you guys already notice things about your paintings by sitting so far away from it. Okay, so gotta keep moving here. We have this little, and this is happening a lot. I've been seeing this happen quite a bit with the work that's up here. Just leave that there. And then there's one more. So what happens here is we got the problem of twos. You never want twos. You know, arranging flowers, you know, you also want at least 3, you know. So your eye becomes like a tennis game. You know, you look at one side and you look at the other side. Back and forth, back and forth. So, like with this, you've got these two guys, your eyes are going back and forth because they're the same little, they're both birds. So they want to talk to each other, they want to relate to each other. This, you've got 2 brown objects. You've got the cabin and you've got the truck. And so your eyes are going like this. So you have 2 things. And then this is less obvious, but you've got 1 and you have 2. You know, so your eyes are going back, and there's like this is the center of interest. This is the best location of the canvas. There's nothing going on there. So from looking at this, I thought probably one of the easiest ways of improving this is to make this sing, you know, bring that beautiful color out, just make it sing, and that way it becomes a third element. Then you have a beautiful sunset, you have your birds and your trees, so then you have kind of an upside down triangle. So that's a suggestion for this. With this guy, it really feels like something needs to happen here. It almost like what is it? What do you need there? If I was to hang, like let's say I was to hang this on, if I was to stick a nail on the wall, right, hang this on the wall, visually the painting will go like that because it's heavier on this side. So I need something else to balance that side off. So, I don't know, first thing that came to my head is like a well, wishing well kind of little thing. That's just first thing that popped in my head, but there's plenty of other things you can put out there. Another thing too, this will help if you flip it upside down. This is from, sorry, whose is this? Is this from memory? Is this from like imagination?
It's a photograph, but only loosely, like the truck wasn't there, the truck was somewhere else.
Okay.
I rearranged it.
Yeah, I see, okay. That's why I kind of felt like you were doing an imaginative painting, which you kind of are. I'll put things upside down and have a look at them upside down and see if things feel right. Doesn't feel too bad. So what's happening here though, it feels like you're lacking. You're lacking, you've got a lot of blue and green, a lot of yellow and blue in here. And you have just a little bit of red. And I think that's why it becomes a little tennis game.
I was thinking of putting cows on the other side of the road.
You know,
Yeah.
I think if you do put cows, maybe have somebody sort of interacting here. Because a cow, right away, that is your most interesting shape. By default, that becomes your center of interest, because it's the most interesting shape. If you ever throw a person in something, automatically that's your center of interest. And that's what's going on with these guys.
What could you do with the path? You said that.
Oh, the path, oh yeah, the path, what I would do is I think I'd make it wider. I'd widen it here, instead of starting to get wide there,
Yeah.
widen it here, and then just change the trajectory just a little bit.
Curve it more.
Either that, or you can have it swing down.
Yeah.
You know, that way your eye can just go right into that. Because your eye is going to want to travel. This is oil, right?
Yes.
Kind of seems like there's like a flood or something. Is it supposed to be water? No, right?
No,
Just shadow.
Shadow.
Okay. I'm going to plug one of my friends, Stapleton Kearns. I don't know if you know who he is. He's actually a pretty well-established landscape painter. He has a blog. If you just, as soon as you type in the word Stapleton, it should come up right away. And he's a landscape painter. He's been at it for a while. He's a Boston School painter, but he has a blog all about landscape painting. And something that happens, if you're outside painting from life, your shadows are going to be red. You're going to have reds in there. You're not going to have blue in there. It feels like you want to have blue in there because it's like, oh, shadows are dark and they're cold. But if you put a alizarin in there, it does two things. First, it's a complementary color, so it sets off really nicely. And alizarin's so deep and so rich. If you put like alizarin and viridian that you have here, you'll make kind of a purple. And that will serve as your dark, as your black. Because that does look like a flood. It looks like there was water there or something. You know, it looks very irregular, it looks very cut out. So I think, you know, kind of determine your light source, which to me, it looks like your light source is, it's really not clear. You really don't have a very clear light source. According to the shadow on the truck, it looks like your light is from behind, coming in. If you're saying that, then this background needs to be a lot lighter. That's another thing I was going to say too. A general rule of thumb, and it's never, let me start over here. Okay, so a rule of thumb which always can be broken is the sky should be the lightest value in a painting, should be your sky. Everything else will be darker. Of course there's exceptions like snowstorms. So I always say like open up a section, open up a passage. So I would open up this section, you know, I would match these colors again, and I would get these colors again, and then I'd start repainting them and sort of kind of marry these little edges together so they don't look like they're cut out, because that feels unnatural. Another thing is too with focus, it feels like this is out of focus and that's sharply in focus. You're better off, especially as a realist painter, you're better off painting everything out of focus instead of everything in sharp focus. Everything out of focus feels more real than everything in sharp focus because our eyes do not focus like a camera does. So when you become a slave to a photograph, you're putting everything in focus. And you shouldn't be doing that. You should. I think it was Vermeer that kind of figured out that you see like a basketball size is in focus. Everything else is kind of blurred. And even our focal point, you're only seeing high contrasts, you know. So like my dark jacket up against the piano, it gets lost, you know. If I had a white shirt up against a white wall, it'll be lost, you know. So visually, you know, I want my hair to be sharper because the background's lighter, you know, things like that. So there's that little give and take, the little push and pull of focus, lost and found. That's what they call it, chiaroscuro, lost and found. So this feels like it's in sharp focus. So I think I would soften that And actually, I think I'd even darken this too. That feels like actually you can get darker with this thing, and it won't hurt it. And I think if you kind of darken things overall and make these guys really bright, the painting will be about the birds, because the painting should be about the birds. You need a third guy.
You said about painting wet on wet.
Uh-huh.
So if you're working on a big piece, how do you paint wet on wet without going continually 24 hours or something?
That's why I said
How do you do
a
that?
passage. You open up a passage. So, for instance, like if I'm painting, here, let me move on to a different painting here. So if I was to work on this, and I was painting wet into wet, I would open up this section right here, you know? And I would treat that whole section as one. I would treat the whole house in one sitting. I wouldn't go and just do the snow one day and then next day paint the house. I would do the whole house in one sitting. So you definitely need a block of time when you paint, especially in oil. You want a block of time to paint. This painting, your center of interest is the house. So whose painting is this? I'm sorry. It's yours, okay. So your center of interest is the house because it has the most interesting shape. Even though those deer are pretty interesting. But the house is in the best location, it has the best shape, and it actually has the best color, because there's not much, I mean, the only orangey brown is over here, you know? But it feels like, I think what I would do, lots of it can get dark. You can darken parts of it up. Is this from the photo?
It's actually a copy, a study of Kincaid.
Kincaid. It sort of looked like a Kincaid. Yeah, see, Kincaid's, his lights glow. And the reason his lights glow is because he keys his painting. So it's almost like you mix a color, like that's too dark, that's too dark. You put it on there, you're like, oh my God, it's not even dark enough. You know what I mean? It's almost like you have to, it sort of feels like you're inching towards the value, and you should just go right for the jugular. You know, get that light, get that dark, put them next to each other. And if they sing, the effect, remember I said it earlier, they have to sing. So don't even think of anything else, just think of those two values together. And are they doing what you're copying, what it's doing, you know? And then once you make those two sing, then just keep on playing off of that, build off of that. And so for me, it feels like, I have a feeling that the snow is probably darker. It's probably bluer. Another thing, I think with this one, I would hold off on white and black. Definitely don't use black in this, but I would hold off on white until the very, very end. And I would try to make everything kind of pop the way it should. And then once you have that white, that's it, you know, your extra little oomph right at the end. You know, you can bring out, like, you know, the edges of the snow. You can take your white and just punch things up a little bit. I've seen people, when they compose, they'll do things like they'll cut the corner off. So visually that corner's gone. And that's sort of what Kincaid did here. He said, okay, no more of that corner. I don't want that. So I'll make that tree and stuff. So any other questions or anything like that?
Thank you so much, Michael S. Vieira, for such an insightful critique. I am sure all the artists will be glad to take your advice and touch up their paintings.